These are two excellent wintertime driving machines, and if you're considering something in a high-performing electric to spice up that cold weather commute, both the Kia EV6 and Polestar 2 are sure to satisfy.
If you're a little on the fence between these two machines, and this is probably going to be one of the most important videos you watch when it comes to making a smart decision,
we'll be digging into specs and dimensions, warranty coverage for those batteries, and how your choice of model year affects range and features. I'm Justin Pritchard, and this is my mathematical deep dive into the Kia EV6 and Polestar 2 to help you figure out which one is most worth your dollars.
All right, so time to hit the road, and remember that both of these cars are on a set of quality winter tires, and yours should be too if you're driving in conditions like the ones I'm about to show you.
So some notable changes for the Polestar 2, which launches for model year 2020, and that's with a 78 kilowatt-hour battery and maximum range of 435 kilometers. There are no significant changes for 2021. Then for model year 2022, some additional options for the Polestar 2 arrive, including new packages like the Plus package and Pilot package. A new single motor variant and a heat pump becomes available for the first time in 2022 as well. You'll find that via the Plus pack for model year 2022 and onwards, and it helps bump the vehicle's range in cold temperatures because a heat pump allows the car to move existing heat from one place to another, rather than generating new heat, which saves on energy use. So with its heat pump, naturally occurring heat in the Polestar 2's battery can, for instance, be moved into the car when it's cold, rather than having to use battery power to generate new heat to keep you warm. There's a slight increase in range, and Nappa leather upholstery also becomes available as a standalone option, rounding out the changes for 2022. For 2023, a battery upgrade brings subsequent changes to range for both models. And for 2024, there's a facelift and performance boost, with rear-wheel drive becoming the standard drivetrain for the entry-level model. So that single-motor model now has 300 horsepower to the rear wheels and 361 pounds of torque, resulting in a faster 0 to 60 time as well. And then for 2025 and onwards, another slight range improvement, some new option packages, paint colors, and wheel designs. Things are much simpler for the Kia EV6, which launched for model year 2022, followed by the high-performing EV6 GT for model year 2023. 2024 changes were minimal, and for 2025, there's a new facelift and tech improvements, and range is improved by about 4%. So depending on the year and model you're considering, you can look for range in the Polestar 2 on the low side of about 375 kilometers and on the high side of about 515. For the Kia EV6, look for 373 kilometers of range on the standard range model with rear-wheel drive. Make that 500 kilometers for the long range with rear-wheel drive, 441 kilometers for the long range all-wheel drive, as well as the GT line all-wheel drive. And for the much higher performing EV6 GT, you're looking at a range of 351 kilometers. Look for 0 to 60 in about 7 seconds from the Polestar 2 standard range single motor, 4.5 seconds for the Polestar 2 long range dual motor, slightly quicker for the performance package, and 0 to 60 improvements across the board for the Polestar 2 with that 2024 model year update.
So now you know which model years to consider and the differences between each, but what about warranty coverage for those batteries?
The Polestar 2's battery has an 8-year, 160,000 kilometer warranty if the battery drops to 70% or less of its original capacity. Within that time frame, it's replaced at no cost. The EV6's battery has an 8-year, 150,000 kilometer warranty. If its capacity drops below 70%, then it's replaced or repaired, but not necessarily to 100%, but to at least 70%. I like the sounds of the Polestar warranty better with a battery replacement. You have a role to play in extending the lifespan of the battery in either car. Using built-in controls, you can set the maximum charging level down from 100% to maybe 70 or 80 until you know you'll need that extra 20 or 30% for a longer trip. So you can avoid fully charging to 100% unless you know you need to. And also, if you're storing your car for an extended period, maybe while you're away traveling, then check your owner's manual for the best charge level to leave the battery at. Generally, storing your battery at about 50% for extended periods is considered better for its long-term health than storing it closer to 100 or to 0%, but the full scoop is in your owner's manual. When it comes to charging speeds, it's virtually a tie. On a portable charger, from 0 to 100% is going to take 35 or 36 hours. Using a level 2 charger, maybe at home or at the office, will take 7 to 8 hours to charge the EV6 fully and around 8 hours to charge the Polestar 2 fully. The biggest difference comes when fast charging these two cars. From 10 to 80% on an appropriate fast charger in the Polestar 2 takes about 28 minutes, but just 18 minutes in the EV6. So some pretty minor differences here other than when fast charging, when the Kia will tend to save about 10 minutes versus the Polestar when you're doing that 10 to 80% fast charge on the go. On wheelbase, it's the Kia EV6 in the lead by 6.5 inches or 16.6 centimeters, meaning it has a wheelbase that's about 6% longer than the Polestar 2. On overall length, it's the EV6 in the lead by 3.5 inches, that's 8.9 centimeters if you like, making it about 2% longer than the Polestar 2. The EV6 is 2.8 inches, 7.1 centimeters, or just under 5% taller than the Polestar 2. For curb weight, the Polestar 2 is 183 pounds, that's 83 kilograms or about 4% heavier. Ground clearance is a virtual tie between the two, with the Kia EV6 in the lead by just 0.2 of an inch. And on width, it's the EV6 in the lead by 0.8 of an inch, that's 2.1 centimeters, call it 1%. Cargo volume with the seats up puts the EV6 far in the lead by 10 cubic feet, that's 284 liters, giving the Kia a roughly 70% advantage over the Polestar 2 when it comes to cargo volume with the seats up. And with the seats folded down, it's the Kia EV6 in the lead again by 11.5 cubic feet, 324 liters or 30%. When it comes to cargo floor length with the seats upright, the Polestar 2's is longer by 2.7 inches, that's 6.8 centimeters or about 7% versus the Kia. And on cargo floor length with the seats folded, the EV6 sneaks into the lead by 0.9 of an inch, that's 2.3 centimeters or about 1%. Both these models have a frunk. In North America, the frunk in the EV6 is 0.7 cubic feet, that's 20 liters. And the frunk in the Polestar 2 is 1.2 cubic feet, that's 33 liters, making the Polestar 2's frunk about 71% larger than the Kia EV6's. Now for your passengers. On front headroom, it's the Polestar 2 in the lead by 2.3 inches, that's 5.8 centimeters, or just about 6% more front seat headroom than the Kia EV6. But on rear seat headroom, it's the Kia EV6 in the lead by 1 inch, 2.5 centimeters, or about 3%. Front and rear shoulder room both go to the Kia EV6 by about 6%. And while the two are virtually tied on front seat legroom, the EV6 beats the Polestar 2 in rear seat legroom by a whopping 5.1 inches. That's nearly 13 centimeters or 15% more rear seat legroom than the Polestar 2. So my main impression of the Polestar 2 was the driving experience. Engaging, energizing, precise, confident, and especially all of that translated very well into driving in the snow on a set of quality winter tires. My tester here has 408 horsepower, nearly 500 pounds of torque, and does 0 to 60 in about 4.2 seconds. The handling is a high-response, low-workload approach to sporty driving. The steering feel is adjustable, but it's quick and sharp, and when you combine that one-pedal driving, which is more efficient and smooths out your braking and throttle, you've got this ability to direct the Polestar 2 around on slippery back roads with just little movements of your fingers and one foot. It's got the shorter wheelbase of the pair by a fair margin, which makes it feel friskier and more lively driving around in the snow. The traction control system and all-wheel drive programming is fantastic. This is an encouraging, entertaining, and confidence-inspiring driving machine. But those rear seats are cramped for larger adults, cargo space is not as good as the EV6, and that vulnerable position of the backup camera makes it hard to keep clean in the snow. Not a huge fan of the infotainment system. This is better than it used to be, but still requires some digging through on-screen submenus to get to certain functions. And I've got to say, I do miss the sounds and sensations of a high-performance gas engine. Though having this much torque with zero noise is just about as entertaining. My key praise for the EV6 was also the winter driving experience. We've got 320 horsepower and 446 pounds of torque in this tester. And after a week of driving in conditions like these, what impressed me the most was how well it feels like this car is putting its power to the ground. Step deeper and deeper into the throttle and you feel more and more traction, not wheel spin. Up to the limits of physics, of course, but there's a strong sensation that this car is always extracting the maximum possible traction from the surface below. And that off-the-line acceleration with your foot down in the snow is pretty much straight as an arrow every time. I'd say the EV6 is the more impressive machine for a smooth and comfortable highway drive with a little bit of sporty tautness dialed in. I think the cabin is the most impressive of the pair, with my favorite infotainment interface of the two and the more modern looking design and displays, which are much more customizable and engaging. Then there's that long wheelbase, which helps provide a smoother ride and good rear seat legroom, adding to passenger comfort. Still, some controls are a little oddly placed and fiddly to use. I wished for easier access to USB charging ports near where I was sitting. The ride quality on rougher roads is more mixed than it is in the Polestar 2, I found, with noise and harshness being more pronounced on broken pavement and potholes. And by the way, charging speeds are significantly reduced in sub-zero temperatures for both models, affecting both level 1 and level 2 charging times the most significantly. So which one would I buy? Well, it's tough because these are both very good, and that Kia does have the better rear seat legroom and I think the better looking interior and overall design. But as a driving enthusiast who loves to hit the road after the snow falls and before the plows come out, I think it actually has to be the Polestar 2. I find the fine-tuning, shorter wheelbase, and overall feisty but stable feel to it just connect more easily with my inner driving enthusiast. There's something in the character of this car that reminds me of a quieter, faster Subaru WRX on roads like this. And that's a very good thing. So I'd be going Polestar 2 in this comparison, but having to choose between either of these machines is a good problem to have. So hopefully you understand these two machines and how they compare a little better now. And if that's the case, be sure to leave me a like and click that subscribe button down below if you're watching on YouTube.
Well, tthank you for watching. My name's Justin Pritchard from Sudbury, Ontario. Until next time, take care and drive safe.